Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on Warrior Chat. I appreciate it very much. My name is Wayne McCullough, and with me today is the athletic director for the Southern York County School District, a man that I know all of us have a great regard for, who's got a long history here in the Southern York County School District as a teacher in Southern Middle School of Science, but also more recently then as athletic director, a man that I have great regard for, Mr. Chuck Abbott. So Chuck, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Coach. Great to be here.
Yep. Today's topic, as you would guess, is to talk about athletics here in the Southern York County School District. And here's how the topic kind of came up for us. Weeks ago, we were called by a local newspaper reporter who was interested in, gosh, how much money is spent on athletics, not only at Susquehannock High School, but throughout the county, number one, and then try to put that in some kind of context in terms of, all right, how many students are participating, what's the impact, and so forth. So we thought, it might be an interesting topic for you, our community members, to have a good feel about the athletic program here at Southern York County School District, and also the amount of money it takes to fund what I believe is just a tremendous, outstanding athletic program. First of all, Mr. Abbott, when you talk about athletics, it's more than the high school.
Sure.
Give us an idea of what is an athletic program. Tell us what It's one thing to say how much do you spend on athletics,
right? But
it's another thing to say, okay, well, what is an athletic program?
Right. First of all, when you talk about athletics, our belief is it's an extension of the classroom. Our kids learn a lot out on the playing field. They learn along in the classroom. They learn life lessons on those different types of things. But when you talk about the total athletic program, you talk about hopefully a cohesion between those student athletes and the coaches and forming relationships that I know as you as a former coach, one of the greatest things I had is when you had your former players come back and say, Coach, I remember doing this and we did this and we really had a good time. And it's those things that go beyond, those grades 9 through 12.
Yeah. Let me read our vision here. And I think this is important, and that's why I want to read it to you. It's one of our beliefs of the Southern York County School District. Our beliefs at Southern York County is that learning is a lifelong process. I think we'd all agree with that. That includes not only the intellectual, but the social, emotional, cultural, and physical development of the learner. And you're right, it's not just athletics, it's the entire extracurricular, co-curricular program that includes music, theater, all those things beginning at elementary school that we believe develops the entire student here at Southern York County School District.
Right. Some people, tend to get away from that philosophy, but we always try to reel them back in because, it's high school athletics. It's just more than athletics. It's being involved and being part of something. Again, whether it is the athletic program or it's a band program or whatever, but, if you're involved, you're going to be okay.
Well, I'll speak from a parent standpoint. I had obviously 2 children go through the high school. In fact, their whole careers were involved in athletic programs, different ones, and every kid's different.
Right.
A daughter who participated in cross country, and what a great sport that is. And we'll talk more about that later. But the thrill of a cross country event, if you've never seen one, you got to see it, because first of all, everyone's trying to win.
Exactly.
But they stay there, every competitor, and cheer till that last person crosses the line.
The best part is the finish line. We're just watching those kids cheer each other on and making sure everybody gets across the finish line. It's unbelievable.
It is. What a great activity. So, but they also participated in theater and the music programs and orchestra and the band programs. So again, it is our belief that the whole development of each and every student is important, and for their lifelong enjoyment. And I know you believe about that. You believe in that also. Now, you and I both former athletes, and from a personal standpoint, I don't think I would have even first of all gone to college.
Right.
And I know I wouldn't have made it had it not been for participating in a program.
No, and I'm the same way. And if our academic standards are so high, but if you look, our athletes' grades are better when they participate in a particular sport. It's just, it's just unbelievable how that ties in.
The one thing I want everyone to know is we have 66? 66 athletic programs. That I can't even imagine where that number comes from. Tell us about it.
You know, it's deceiving because when you think of an athletic program, usually folks just think about varsity teams. You know, obviously we have 24 varsity teams. But within those varsity teams, obviously you have the subdivisions. So for example, you take a look at football, you know, you got varsity football, you have JV football, you have 9th grade football, you have 7th grade football, and you have 8th grade football. So there's 5 levels there. And you can go down through the gamut and talk about each one, and eventually they're going to add up. You know, basketball, boys and girls basketball, they have 4 levels. You know, you got varsity and JV sports, and you got cheerleading who have 4 or 5 levels. So we do have quite a number of levels of sports, just not 24 core sports.
Yeah, I think what's significant, take the competition aspect out of it. I believe that's important.
Right.
Maybe everyone has a little bit different opinion on that. But I think one thing that everyone agrees on is the wellness aspect of it,
Yes.
which I know just because of being a coach here and having you as an athletics director, that's such a focus you have when you work with the coaches. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, we've got a great trainer in Mike Fleming. I mean, he does a great job, just not taking care of the athletic injuries, but also making sure that there's proper diet for the players, and talking to the coaches about conditioning, and actually coming up with a conditioning program or weight training program, which is, you know, it's all components of the athletic program, just not going out there and competing.
There's one phrase I remember you saying often, and I know you still talk about it, and it's students first.
Right.
Athletes first, students first. Tell us what that means as part of your program.
It's gone back to one of my coaching principle classes that I teach, and it's been a philosophy that we have adopted, and it's athletes first, winning second. So, you know, we've been able to get that across, and we're always going to make sure that the athletes are our first thing, priority. You know, we're going to always keep that in focus. You know, winning's important, but the other things that go with that are just as important.
Tell me about some of those kind of other things.
Oh, some of those other things, you know, like the discipline that you learn on the practice field, getting along with others, the things that go along with winning or even losing. I mean, you know, it's important that, you know, it's a win, but it's also important to learn how to lose, because a lot of people are good losers, and it goes back to our philosophy about sportsmanship. We're awful proud of all the sportsmanships that we have, banners hanging in the gymnasium, and again, that's a reflection of our coaches and our kids that, you know, winning's important, but so is sportsmanship.
Yeah, I think that's so valuable. And Coach Abbott's right. You walk in our gymnasium, and certainly we have more than our share of championship banners up there, but the number of sportsmanship awards just stuns you.
If you take a look at that, you know, and it's just a tribute again to our kids, you know, we're going to do it the right way. You know, you can have winning programs, but you can have great sportsmanship programs that go along with it. And on that wall, you can see it's just not one sport.
Yeah.
It's a multiple of sports over and over again, and it's very important to us.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, competitor from the Lone Catholic, I don't mind saying that, came into our gyms and looked up those sportsmanship banners and said, I've never seen anything like that.
Right.
She was stunned. She was a female basketball player at the Lone Catholic who went on to play college basketball, but she was stunned of those number of sportsmanship banners.
And that's usually the first thing that catches people eye.
Yeah.
It's because they'll come up to me and say, wow, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
And it's again, it's a tribute to our kids.
Yeah. Now that doesn't happen by accident.
No.
You know,
we talk about it, we emphasize it at every coaches meeting. All our coaches talk to the kids about, you know, you're representing yourselves, you're representing your parents, you're representing the school, you're representing the community, and you know, if things go bad, we handle it right away.
Yeah. You know, I mentioned that because when we talk about our belief that learning involves emotional and social and cultural and physical, you know, it is so important to teach those skills not only in the classroom, but then reinforce them outside the classroom and so forth. And I promise you, that's what they're getting here when they participate in athletic programs here at Susquehannock. Now, saying that doesn't mean there hasn't been more than our share of wins. Also.
No, that doesn't. You know, we've been very fortunate. You know, we have great coaching staff, and I'm going to go back, and I've probably said this 5 or 6 times already. We've got great kids, They're working hard. We're all determined. We're all getting off to a good start here in the fall, and we're looking for continued success.
Yeah. Well, also, anyone who's been involved in anything knows it also takes great leadership, and this is a good opportunity. Again, thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been in many gyms and been around many coaches and athletic directors, and you're the best.
I don't know about that, but
well,
thank
you
you. I
are.
appreciate it.
We're fortunate to have you in that role. So again, I want to give you a sense of, we talk about the athletic program. Yeah, it's, these are young men and women participating in our athletic fields beginning at junior high. 66 programs participating, and the last I heard there was over 1,000 students participating also.
We're pushing 1,000, and you figure we're a school of 1,100 kids. That includes junior high also for the 1,000 kids, but participation rates are high.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And then again, that's just athletic programs, and some of those students participating in multiple programs. And I mentioned that's also important.
Sure is. We're out there. We want kids to participate multi, whether it be athletic programs, a band, chorus, orchestra. We have a lot of student athletes who do participate in the band or participate in the orchestra. We have 4 or 5 football players who are in the band. So it's pretty neat when they go out there at halftime and put on their, it's just something to see.
Well, it is, and again, some places, and you hear this complaint about youth sports, and it's a good one, and personally I believe it's true, where many young people are funneled into the concept that you need, if you want to be good at it, you got to focus on one sport early, and I know that's not your philosophy.
No, our philosophy is play as many as you can, be involved, because it's going to help everybody. You start focusing on one sport, and we're a school that we can't afford to have kids play one sport.
The one thing I find always interesting, obviously so much focus on students getting scholarships.
Right.
And they're few and far between, but there are scholarships out there. I guess in your opinion, are the stakes higher, or have things changed over the last 20 years?
I think it has changed a little bit. I think that the expectations have become higher. I think there's a lot of pressure on kids, whether it be parental pressure or whether it be peer pressure, or to get that scholarship. But they're few and far. That you've got to be really exceptional, and those exceptional kids sometimes are missed too. And it's just one of those things. But if you're good enough, we're going to find you.
Yeah.
We've had some kids here to go on got scholarships. They're going to find you.
Yeah, and again, I'll use my son, for example, who played college basketball. Not a scholarship player, but what a great opportunity.
Exactly.
So sometimes I think our focus is maybe at the wrong place, because I think you're right. If you're good enough, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we've had people where it's happened. Quite a few. Chaz Powell, who's now at Penn State. Yeah, I mean, we've got
Randy Etzel. A couple other kids have gone on, and it doesn't have to be a Division I school. I mean, we've talked about this several times. D3s, it's competitive.
Right. Again, thank you. I just want you to get the whole perspective of what. First of all, this man's about, because his character, but also what the athletic program that you lead is about. And yeah, we want to win games, but the whole focus is much more than that. It's developing young people, and I loved your phrase, athletes first, students first. We're going to look at the development of the whole person. We're going to do it with great sportsmanship. We have banners, hanging in that gym that show how important that is to us. We're going to do it the right way. And the other thing that we've talked briefly about, one thing I know has changed, and I know it's an emphasis that I think is a wonderful emphasis when we talk about lifelong learning, and it's really an emphasis on 2 things. It's one thing to put a baseball team out, a field hockey team out in the field, but the emphasis really is on fitness and skill development.
And actually now it's coming down to safety.
And safety. Interesting.
There's some things that's changed. It hasn't changed the game a lot, but it's changed it enough that the safety portion has really come into play. Yeah.
So let me give you a little bit of some of the real financial information now. 66 programs. The cost for that budgeted for this year, $449,000. This is for 2011, 2012. We've worked real hard to keep those costs down. It's not easy, but here's what that includes. About $250,000 for salaries for all coaches involved in those programs, as well as people who support those programs. approximately $198,000. That includes all the transportation services, supplies, uniforms, payroll taxes, the insurance involved in all that. And I mention that because, again, that represents less than 1% of our overall school district budget. And we could argue, and I'd be happy to discuss it with anybody. Okay, $450,000 is a lot of money and is a lot of money. But again, I believe we get great value for it here. And it does. And here's why. I talk so much about benchmarking, I know the people in the community get tired of it. I ran into a guy in Glen Rock actually over July 4th who was saying, I think I know every number about all your maintenance costs and utility costs and so forth. But, well, you know, the benchmark number in Pennsylvania is about 1.5%.
1.5%.
And that's what school districts typically would spend for athletic programs.
Right, and that comes from the National Federation of High Schools, which is a national deal,
Right.
big deal.
So we're running, and I don't think there are very few school districts in York County that have more programs than we have.
We have them all.
We have
We have them all. We have them all that we can sponsor. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of opportunities for our children, again, at less than 1% of our overall school district budget. Yeah, $450,000, a lot of money, but I promise you, again, as we do otherwise, we're going to make sure that we spend every one of those dollars effectively, and in this case, really for the benefit of our children.
For the benefit of the kids, which is important.
It is. You know, let's brag a little bit. Look back in the last few years, some highlights of the athletic program. I know you've had some state championships there.
Well, we've been very fortunate, yeah. You know, we talk about back a couple years ago, we had, you know, the two softball back-to-back championships. You know, we had a swimmer win back-to-back championships in 2 events. We had the soccer team come out of nowhere to win a state championship. And our girls volleyball program has always been strong. They finished second a couple times in the states. They've had numerous district championships. So it goes on and on and on. And you know, it's been a great ride. It's been a great ride.
Well, and they're a great leader. Again,
well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So again, think of the pride that the entire community has. And I know I've said this many times, and this is true. The people of Southern York County support public education. They always have, and I haven't seen that change. And our people also get it, that it's the whole child.
Right.
And it's not just athletics. Again, it's theater, it's music, it's co-curricular beginning in the elementary schools with environmental programs, all those programs. They understand that our children deserve a well-rounded educational program, and athletics is a big part of that. And I don't mind saying, for the wellness for their entire life.
Right.
It's, you know, it really is a program that hopefully, and that's why I'd like the emphasis on fitness, because you know what, I still don't play football, but you learn to develop a fitness program perhaps that you can take with you throughout your life.
Throughout your life, and that's what I say about Trainer Mike. He plans those programs where, you know, you can continue, you know, after your sport is over or after you graduate from high school or whatever, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, an outstanding program. We're very, very proud of it. I hope you are too. Mr. Chuck Abbott is just a great leader again, and so we appreciate all you do and the pride you take in it.
Thank you.
And I'll say this one more thing. Take wins and losses aside, and I don't mind. I'll put this promise out here right now. You know, we invite everyone to come out and watch our children play.
Yes.
And compete. But even in a loss, these students, like you said, they know how to represent, first of all, themselves and their families and their community, and they do a great job of it. Not just students, but our coaches.
Right.
You know, and I don't mind saying this, our football team, okay, they have 2 losses right now.
Right.
And they're working hard. They have a young group of guys. But I promise you, there's not a gentleman in a coaching staff with greater integrity who I would want leading my children, modeling my children how you behave.
Right.
That's just one example. Now, they're going to win games, but my point is this. My point is that when you select coaches, that's what you're looking for. I know you are.
That's a big part of it. You know, it's the big part about being a role model and saying and doing the right thing and building those relationships with the kids, because eventually, you know, you've been there. It pays off. It pays off, and it is very important.
It is. So, for less than 1% of the school district's budget, we have over 60 teams participating throughout our county in athletic programs, boys and girls in equal number. In fact, I think there may be a few more extra girls teams than there are
I
boys.
think we're one ahead of boys.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
Over 1,000 student athletes who are participating, some of them in more than one sport. Now, it does cost money, but I think you would agree that it really is a value for what we get. So thank you. Really it was nice to have the opportunity to share that information with you. As always, if you have any questions about any of our expenses, please give us a call here at the business office at the Southern York County School District. I'd love to sit and chat with you or talk to you just over the phone and share information. It's important that you have all the information of things that we're doing here. So, a couple of people I want to thank. First of all, Mr. Chuck Abbott, the athletic director.
Thank you, Coach.
Here at
Much
Southern York
appreciated.
County School District. It's not many places in the state they haven't heard your name, and that's because of the state champions. But we all know what a great job you've done here, and we appreciate your leadership. And I don't mind saying this. Beyond athletics, you're also an instructional leader.
Yes.
And we appreciate that too. That's an important aspect of what you do in our buildings. So, for Curtis Napke back there and also Evan Stewart, two students from Mr. Hare's video production classes, those guys are gems. They do a nice job and we appreciate what you do. For Mr. Mark Worrell, who's the coordinator of marketing and public information for the school district, I'm Wayne McCullough. I'll see you next time.